Dear friends, welcome to this Electrical Engineering Knowledge Sharing channel, EMP Power System Workshop. We are discussing about switchgear protection. So all the incoming and outgoing feeder protection we have already discussed. Today we are going to discuss about the busbar protection, which is the most important part of the switchgear and which is responsible for receiving and distributing power to the various loads. Now, when we are going to the protection of the busbar, it depends. There are various schemes available for the protection of the busbar, but different scheme has different features and different cost. So, before applying any busbar protection system, we need to evaluate the exact requirement, and based on that requirement we have to implement the busbar protection system, and how much cost we can afford for a particular system, that also to be evaluated. So based on the various evaluation, more or less it has been seen that if the system for which the busbar protection is intended for, the system voltage and the criticality is one of the important aspect in the process of evaluation. So based on the various evaluation, we can categorize if the busbar system or the switch gear is a low voltage switch gear, that is below 1 kV. In case of LV switch gear below 1 kV, normally we protect the busbar system by overcurrent protection, overcurrent plus earth fault protection. It is a IDMT overcurrent and earth fault protection if it is a LV switch gear, that is a below 1 kV. If the voltage level is below 1 kV, we generally protect the busbar system of the switch gear by providing overcurrent earth fault protection. Normally we provide IDMT overcurrent, but if that switch gear is linked with a successively different with the feeders to different same voltage level switch gear, suppose by 1 2.6, suppose this is a 415 volt switch gear, from here it is going to another 415 volt switch gear, then from there again it is going to another 415 volt switch gear. If the original 415 volt switch gear is linked with the various downstream 2 or 3 415 volt switch gear, in that case this IDMT overcurrent relay need to be backed up, or it should be provided with at least one of the level with instantaneous overcurrent relay with a timer. Otherwise, with the coordination, it will be too much delayed. That we will discuss when we will go to LV switch gear busbar protection. So that is the LV switch gear. Now up to 11 kV, that is more than 1 kV, and less than if the voltage 1 kV to suppose it is 11 kV, less than equal to within this voltage level, this switch gear normally we protect by partial differential scheme. It is not the full differential scheme. We say it is a partial differential scheme. Partial differential scheme. It is actually, we call differential, but it is actually overcurrent. We use a cap type relay in the original electromagnetic. Nowadays we are using a overcurrent relay, fast acting overcurrent relay. Instead of differential relay, we use a overcurrent relay, but it is termed is a partial differential protection. But if the switch gear is more than 11 kV and onward, in that case we have to give a differential scheme, differential protection. Differential protection. If the voltage level is more than 11 kV, that means 15 kV onward. 15 kV onward, we have to provide the differential protection. Now this differential protection, we have said in the last class, there are mainly three differential protections available. One is a normal current, circulating current normal, circulating current differential protection, circulating current differential, that is one option. Second is a percentage bias differential scheme, and third is a high impedance voltage scheme, high impedance voltage scheme. That is the three main schemes available. This is a very low cost option, and this is a slightly more costly, and this is the highest cost option, and this is the most secure. It is not very much secured, it is a medium secured, and this is a highly secured option, and which is expensive option. So all the most critical switchboard above 15 kV and which has a huge number of incoming or huge number of outgoing feeders, for that type of switch gear, and it is a high voltage switch gear 66 kV and onward, we normally go by high impedance voltage scheme. Okay, but if if that is we cannot afford, in that case we go to the percentage bias differential scheme, and in only for the non-critical switchboard which is not very much critical, voltage is 15 kV or 22 kV or 33 kV, and if the switchboard is not very critical and the number of feeders is limited, maybe 6 or 7 feeders only, in that case we can go by the normal circulation current principle. So these are the various protections available for the busbar system. So let us go one by one. We'll try, I don't know how much we can complete today, we can 45 to 50 minutes, or we can, the amount which can complete within 45 to 50 minutes, we will finish, we will stop that portion at that part, and the rest part will be continuing in the part 3. So let's start with the first LV switch gear with overcurrent and earth fault protection. How this is done? This is actually, it is not the busbar protection, we have already discussed during the incomer. Suppose we have an incomer of 2 incomer and 1 bus section. These are the switch gear arrangement, and their various outgoing feeders is going from here. Okay. In this case, we have to include one of the point we have to discuss about going to busbar protection. When you provide the busbar protection, we always identify the busbar which area we are going to protect by this protection. So we call it busbar protection zone. So in case of, as it is a 2 busbar arrangement, so the busbar protection zone here actually two zone is here. One zone is, this is the one zone. The zone will be decided in such a way none of the portion of the busbar shall be remain unprotected, and the breaker should be included inside the each protection zone. Now this is a incomer 1 and this is a incomer 2. We know this thing, and this is a bus coupler. Bus coupler is responsible for both. These will be operating in both cases. We are now considering both the incomer is 1 and bus coupler is also 1. That is the way this system is operating. It is a parallel, the operation is in parallel. Both incomer 1 and incomer 2 is running in parallel with closing bus coupler. This is the system is operating in that way. In that case, bus coupler is a common for both the incomers. So when we are selecting the zone, in that case we have to select the zone in such a way that bus coupler will be including in both the zones. So one of the zone will be like this. This is one of the zone. Yeah. When we are considering busbar, or if you consider the outgoing feeder also to be included, then this will be one of the zone. Okay. And so this zone, when we want to protect, then this protection system will be operating with the CT. So we have to place the CT in such a way. Normal practice for the busbar protection, the CT on the source side, CT will be located before the breaker, away from the busbar towards the source after the breaker. Okay. But for the load side, the CT will be located after the breaker, away from the busbar. Okay, towards the load. So in case of incomer, CT will be located away from the busbar and after the breaker towards the source. That means CT will be located over here. So here in the case of outgoing feeder, CT will be located closing the breaker but away from the busbar towards the load. That means CT will be located over here. So in that case, if we consider the zone in this way, so any fault on the breaker will be included in the busbar. Suppose there is a fault on the breaker, we can do this way, we could decide the zone like this after the breaker. In that case, if there is a fault on the breaker, that will not be included. That's why intention of when we define the zone will be decided in such a way that the breakers, both incoming, outgoing, all the breakers are included within the zone. So when we consider bus coupler, so bus coupler in this case, suppose CT is over here. So we are select the zone in such a way this CT will be included inside the zone 1. In this case, this is a 1 zone. Then when we consider the incomer 2, the zone will be like this. This is a zone 2. This is a zone 1. It is a zone 2. So in successive, when we discuss the various other scheme, the zone conception is required. Zone identification of zone is very important. So we have to, that's why I just mark over here. But in case of overcurrent protection, the zone is not very important here, because here we are not considering the zone. Will include the protection in such a incomer because there is no separate zone. Separately, it is not protected. It is identical protection for both the zone. So here let us see how this overcurrent protection is providing the protection to the bus bar. Our intention to, if there is any fault on the bus bar, our intention is if there is any fault on the bus bar anywhere, this protection should operate and protect the bus bar and isolate the incomers. That is the idea. Now as it is a two incomer, one bus coupler, so if there is a fault on this bus bar, what is our requirement? Our requirement immediately this zone 1 should be isolated. That is our intention. How we can do that? So now when there is a fault over here, fault current will be coming this way as well as fault current will be coming this way. Both will be feeding fault, and this fault will be coming this way and this fault will be, suppose there is a fault over here. So in that case, if we want to isolate this fault, it is considered bus bar fault. What we have to do first, we have to open this breaker. We have to trip this breaker, so the fault feeding from this end will be stopped and it will be feeding the normal load, and then this incomer will be feeding the fault, then it will be tripped. So if there is a bus fault over here, to clear the bus fault over here, incomer requirement is the protection will be provided in such a way, this bus coupler will be open first. After the bus coupler opening, then the incomer will be off. And if the fault is over here, it will be reverse way. In that case, what will happen? The fault is feeding from this side through the bus coupler this way, and this is feeding the fault. So both incomer are feeding the fault. The first job is to isolate this bus coupler so that this fault feeding will be stopped and this current will be feeding to the normal load. Bus coupler will be open, then this incomer will be off and this fault will be cleared. So this is the way this will be operating. So to give this protection to operate this way, what we do? We provide a normal IDMT overcurrent relay with arc fault. That is the normal for 415 volt switch gear. This is the protection we provide for the bus fault. So this is the incomer. This is another incomer which I drawn before. This is a bus coupler. So we provide a CT over here, provide a CT over here, CT over here. So what we do? First we put a 51 relay over here and 51 N relay. So this will protect the bus coupler. Okay, this will be common for both this zone 1 and zone 2. Here also we provide 51 and 51N. Here also 51 and 51N. This is a normal overcurrent protection. So when there is any fault over here, suppose the fault current is IF. IF has a two component. Suppose the fault is IF. IF is one part is feeding from here, IF1, and another fault is feeding IF2. IF1, IF2 making that is equal to IF1 plus IF2. So now the setting of this overcurrent relay is such that for a particular current, this is our IDMT characteristics. So the IDMT characteristics, this incomer and bus coupler, if you see the characteristics curve. So if this is the time and this is the time and this is the fault current. This is the time and this is the fault current. If this is the case, characteristics of the incomer and bus coupler will be like this. So this will be bus coupler and this is the incomer, either incomer 1 or incomer 2. So for a particular fault current over here, suppose there is a fault current over the fault current, this bus coupler is feeding the IF2. Suppose the fault is over here, it is IF1, this is a IF, suppose this is a IF2 fault current. For this fault current, bus coupler operating time is this amount and incomer operating time is this amount. So incomer will be operating afterwards. So when there is a fault on this section, the IF2, for the IF2 it will be operating, suppose it is a 0.3 second. So this IF2 for this fault current, this bus coupler will be operating 0.3 second and this will be suppose 0.5 second, this distance. So this breaker, when the fault is over here, then this incomer will be operating 0.5 second. So once this point, after 0.3 second, the bus coupler is open, immediately this fault feeding will be stopped. So if no fault feeding over here, it will be giving the normal current. Normal current will be feeding by this. So this should operate at 0.5 second, but after 0.3 second, immediately this CT will not see the fault because fault has stopped, because the fault is not coming from this way. Only this is feeding the fault. So after 0.5 second, it will be operating and this fault is cleared. So this fault is clear and this one section of the bus bar will be feeding the power. So this way, this overcurrent protection is providing the protection for the bus bar. But in the similar, if the fault is over here, the same thing will happen, and 0.3 second, this bus coupler will be open, then 0.5 second, this will be open, and the moment bus coupler open, it will be continuing the feeding to the power. So this way, this fault protection, this bus bar protection is provided for the low voltage switch gear. But here is a problem is here, this is for a one level is fine. But if this switchboard is feeding power to the other 415 volt switchboard successive another 2 level, in that case, you see 0.5 second we can accept the 0.5 second, but suppose this is a 415 volt switchboard with a suppose this is a bus coupler, and then there is a feeder over here, it is going to another switch gear 415 volt. From here it is going to another switch gear of 415 volt. If this is the case, this is the 3 level. Now here incomer is coming over here, we are providing 0.5 second, okay, and the bus coupler it is operating 0.3 second. In this case fine. But if this is the case, so suppose this is a level, here also the same thing, this is a incomer and there is another incomer and this is a bus coupler going. Now here if this is the incomer, we put a protection 51 plus 51 in, yeah. Suppose now bus coupler it will be operating 0.3 second, then it is 0.5 second. So if that means if I put both settings, then this for the fault over here, it will be operating from here. That is not acceptable. So I have to coordinate all over the route. That means if this is a 0.3 second, it is 0.5 second. Then these will be maybe 0.8 second or 0.75 second say. Then from here it will come over here. It will be the same setting. Then it will coming about 1.1 second. Yeah. So 1.1 second we cannot. In that case, the time will be coming 1.1 second. For even the fault is over here. Fault current will not be so much difference between these two, minor difference, but it will be operating at 1.1 second or more. And with that amount of time, we cannot withstand. By that time, this switchboard will be destroyed or damaged. So in that case, what we have to do? We have to provide this identity for the coordination. We'll put this. But in addition to this over here, we have to put another instantaneous overcurrent relay with a timer. So what we will do? The instantaneous overcurrent relay operation maybe 100 millisecond. With a timer, we'll put another 100 millisecond time delay. So if the fault is anywhere in the system, it will go by the coordination. But if the fault on the bus bar, then the fault current will be slightly more. For that fault current, it will operate for 200 millisecond. In that way, we can expedite this low voltage switchgear protection. So if there is a multiple switchboard will be supplied from the one source switchboard, in that case, for protecting the individual bus bar, we have to relook again with the coordination, how much time it is going. If it is going more than 7.7 or 0.8 second, then we have to do some alternative arrangement, either by providing instantaneous overcurrent delay with a timer. So this is about the protection for the low voltage switchgear for the bus bar fault with the bus section. But one of the thing over here, when we low voltage switchgear bus bar protection operated, this overcurrent delay operated, you know, all the low voltage scheme, it has an auto changeover scheme. The auto changeover scheme should be blocked. Because when there is a fault on a bus section, normally auto changeover scheme operate when there is in case of parallel operation, auto changeover scheme is not, suppose this is a bus coupler, it is running in parallel. So if there is any bus fault, immediately it will operating. But some of the scheme where auto changeover scheme is present, in that case, it will be 2 out of 3 scheme, 2 out of 3. In that operation, that means at any time out of these 3, 2 will be on. Either this incomer will be on, bus coupler off, or incomer, one of the incomer with the bus coupler will be on, other incomer will be off. So in that case, what will happen? The moment one of the incomer is getting tripped, other incomer will be automatically closed. That is called auto changeover. Now in case of bus fault, suppose this incomer is running with the bus coupler closed. This is the operation. Or in different ways, suppose both the incomer is on, bus coupler is off. Now suddenly there is a bus fault over here. Immediately this incomer will be tripped, bus coupler will be tripped. Then auto changeover, what it will do? Immediately it will close this breaker and it is already off. So the bus, if there is a fault over here, it will be operating at suppose 0.5 seconds. So 0.5 seconds, the moment incomer will be off, immediately auto changeover scheme will be try to close this breaker. This breaker is already closed, it will try to close the bus coupler. That means the moment bus coupler closed, again it is closing on the fault. So again this breaker will trip. So that is a not intendable. The other breaker also you should not subject it. That means in case of bus bar fault, the auto changeover scheme should be blocked. That means in case of this 51 relay, the relay which we are providing over here, or 50N relay, which we are 51N relay, what we are providing, this relay contact should be NC contact will be provided in the auto changeover scheme. So the auto changeover scheme will be blocked during this bus fault. Okay, this is one of the things we have to keep in mind, that when the bus bar protection operated, If there is a auto changeover scheme is provided for the low voltage switch gear, auto changeover scheme shall be blocked for operation. So that is for the low voltage LV for overcurrent protection for the low voltage switch gear. Now we will go to the switch gear which is more than 1 kV but below 11 kV or below. For that scheme, the overcurrent protection we cannot rely. We can provide the overcurrent scheme, but that overcurrent scheme will be working as a backup. When we go to the more than 1 kV, that means 3.3 kV or 6.6 kV or 11 kV, or if we go for US system 4.12 kV or 13 or up to 4.16 kV. So this, if we go that voltage level 3.3 kV, 6.6 kV or 11 kV, or in US practice 4.16 kV. If we go this voltage level of the switchboard, in that case full differential scheme we cannot provide. In that case we provide a partial differential scheme. So this will be main protection for the bus bar, partial differential scheme. But there is a logic, the partial, when we put a partial differential scheme for this medium voltage switch gear, we have to back up this partial differential scheme. That means there will be two protection for the bus bar. This partial differential scheme will be acting as a main scheme, main protection, and then there will be backup protection, overcurrent protection, which we discussed before. This for LV switch gear. For the LV switch gear, what the protection we have provided, that will be provided as a backup protection or second bus bar protection. But partial differential will be acting as a main protection for the bus bar. So what is this partial differential protection? Now, partial differential protection, what is the basic principle of this? Suppose there is a particular switchboard. Now, this is a particular, suppose this is a particular switchboard, this is a incomer, and this is a bus coupler, and then this is suppose 6.6 kV switch gear. We are considering this, there is another incomer over here. Now here we have a different feeders are going, so many feeders, various types of feeders. Some is motor feeder, some is transformer feeder, some may be capacitor bank power factor improvement feeder, some may be tie feeder going to somewhere, this type of feeder. So this is a bus section 1, bus 1, and this is a bus 2. Okay. So here what we have to do? We have to do the, first we have to identify the zone. How will we identify the zone? This is our one zone. This is a one zone. This is one zone. Second zone is the second incomer. Second zone we can mark with the red color. Second zone will be bus coupler will be common. Yeah. Bus coupler will be common. There will be outgoing feeders from here. Similar like incomer, other bus section. Various outgoing feeders are going from here. So this will be the second zone. So we have a two zone. Zone 2, it is a zone 2, and this is a zone 1. These are the two zones for the switch gear which we need to protect. So in both the zone, bus coupler is common. So when we go for partial differential, basic principle of partial differential is we have to calculate for each bus section how much total current I summation of I on suppose bus 1 B1. Total current how much out for outgoing, this is for B1 outgoing, equal to how much current, suppose that current is I out. This is the total current. This current will be the total running current, as well as this I out will be decided normal running current of all the outgoing feeders. I total outgoing plus the biggest load or the largest load on the outgoing feeder starting current. Suppose there is a big motor. The motor during starting of the motor, how much current it will take? Because at one time, normally for switch gear, we never consider two big motor getting started at one time. Normally one big motor is started at one time, one after another. So the biggest motor starting inrush we have to consider, I inrush. So when suppose this is one of the motor we are going to start, when we consider this bus section 1 total current, the total current will be except this feeder, all the other feeder which are running or which are normally run. So that current plus starting current of this. This running current, when we consider the starting current, running current will not be considered. Okay, so that particular biggest feeder, running current will be off. All other feeder which are normally running for operation, that current plus this motor starting current will be the total current for this bus section. So that we calculate from the load figure. And if the running load figure, all this thing is not available, in that case what we do? We take the biggest load starting current plus all other feeder connected load with 80% margin, because all the loads, whatever the nameplate rating, normally 80% of that we run. So 80% of the nameplate rating, we will calculate the current plus the biggest load starting current we had, that will be the total current connected to this bus section 1. That we will consider. Then what we do, the basic principle, this is the total I current. Now we provide a protection over here in such a way, we will measure in this bus section 1, how much current is coming from various sources. Now we have two sources. One source is from incomer, another source power can come from this way, also from this incomer too. If this incomer power is not adequate, then some power will be coming from here. So that means this bus is getting power from two sources. One source is incomer 1, another source from incomer 2, but via bus section through the bus coupler breaker. So bus coupler breaker, this way some power is coming, this way some power is coming. Now we have to monitor how much total incoming current. This incoming current of these two, so that this is a total outgoing current. Then we will calculate I incoming. In this particular case, I incoming is I incomer 1 plus I bus coupler. This certain amount of power, so we measure this current. Now this current and this current is normal condition, both are equal. The amount of power required by this bus bar, same amount of power only it will be taken from the incomer 1 and bus 2, right, from the bus coupler. That is normal case. But so normal condition is, what is this? This suppose we say I1 and this say we say I2. In normal condition, I1 equals to I2. That means I1 minus I2 equal to 0 in normal condition. When I1 minus I2 equal to 0, that means there is no problem with the switchboard. Switchboard is running fine. Now consider there is a fault over here. The moment there is a fault over here, then what will happen? None of the feeder will not taking in current, because when there is a fault, all the feeder, the motor will be trying to feed power to the bus, because motor, the moment there is a fault over here, there is under voltage. The moment there is under voltage, motor is running with the 4, suppose it is a 6.6 kV motor. So terminal voltage 6.6 kV, suddenly there is a fault on the bus bar, this will be 0 voltage. This, due to the running inertia of the motor, it will be feeding power to this. All other equipment will be discharging to the bus bar. So all the load which has a capability to feed back power, those sources will be giving power to the bus bar. Incomer will be giving the power to the bus bar. Bus coupler also giving power to the bus bar. That means all the power will be coming in different direction as the incomer. At that moment, outgoing feeder has no power. Only incomer has the power to feed the fault. That means when there is a fault on the bus bar, I2 is only existing, and that is very high value. This is a very high value because this is fault current. So it is a I2, this become I fault is very than I2, and at that time I1 equal to 0, more or less. No outgoing cable in this way, no outgoing power is going. That means if there is a fault over here, immediately the incoming current by this feeder will be very high, and that will be more than the total normal running current, and at that time outgoing feeder will not be taking any current. So this, by measuring these two current, we can protect the bus bar. So normal condition, what is happening, we will sum these two current, and that two current sum value, we will put this corresponding relay setting in such a way that relay setting will be more than the sum value. Normal condition, whatever the load over here, suppose this load is a 100 ampere total, suppose this is 100 ampere current going by all the loads. Now we will sum these two current, suppose this is a I1 and this is I2. I1 and I2 will sum it, and the sum value will put the setting on the relay over here in such a way that I setting will be more than 100 ampere. In that case, normal condition, IS and I 100 ampere will be equal. The moment IS setting current is more than the current flowing through the relay is more than this 100 ampere, immediately relay will operate. So what a partial differential scheme is like that. We will monitor the incoming current with respect to the outgoing current. When the incoming current is more than outgoing current has not sense over here. Outgoing current we are calculating by using the nameplate or by the load sheet. From the load data, we will calculate the outgoing current, how much maximum it can come. So based on the maximum value, if the incoming current is more than that maximum value, then the relay will operate. That is the basic principle of the partial differential scheme. So in a simple way, we can say partial differential scheme is based on the monitoring the incoming current, and relay setting is decided based on the maximum possible outgoing current. So the maximum possible outgoing current will calculate based on the normal running current plus the maximum starting current of the largest load. This sum will be the total outgoing current. That maximum outgoing current, when this incoming current is more than the maximum outgoing current, then the relay will understand there is a fault on the bus bar. That is the basic principle of the partial differential scheme. So to protect the partial differential scheme, what we need to do? We have to sense the incoming current. So how we do that part? That is we are now trying to explain. Now we have already two zones we have shown. Now we will consider first one zone only. Suppose this is a bus coupler, incomer, and that is a bus coupler, and then it is going another. Okay. Now here we have shown CT will be locating over here, and to include the bus coupler, this CT, this zone 1 CT, this is a zone 1. This is a zone 1, and all the outgoing is going from here. So we have calculated all the outgoing, total outgoing current, I outgoing. This equal to, suppose it is a I1. This include the starting current of this. We have calculated this value. Now what we are doing, we have to sum these two current. The current coming through this way and coming through this way. We have to sum it, so we know how to sum the current. This CT during summation, we use the summation CT. Summation CT means all the CT will be connected in parallel. Suppose these are the three conductor carrying current. Suppose there is one CT over here, one CT over here, one CT over here. How we sum this? We connect all the CT in parallel. This CT connected parallel. This if you connect the ammeter over here, what it will show? It will show this is a current. Suppose this is S1. All are S1. So this is A and this is S2. So it is I1. This current is giving. Suppose this is I2 and this is I3 and this is I1. So this ammeter will be reading how much? Ammeter reading will be I1 plus I2 plus I3. This is the summation of the current. This is the way we do the summation. That is the parallel connection. In case of voltage summation, we connect in series. In case of current summation, we connect the CT in parallel. So this is the summation CT we have already discussed during earth fault protection, 51N protection. So the same principle will apply over here, but it will be three phase, not one phase. So I am showing one phase. Suppose this is a one phase. There are three phase over here. That's the suppose this is a blue phase, mid phase, B phase. So there is a phase and there is a C phase, right? Here is also same way. This is a one phase way I have shown. There is another two CT with three CT will be here. This is a B phase. Suppose this is our B phase. Okay. So now what we'll do? We have to connect this CT in parallel. Both are coming. So when it is coming current this way, this is S1 and this is S2, right? Here also current power is coming this way. So this is S1 and this is our S2. So S1 in that we have shown S1 and S2 will be connected. S1 and this S1 will be connected. These two terminals will be connected together, and this S2 and this S2 will be connected together. So this is another one. Okay. So now the relay will be, this is one line and this is one line. So these two are connected. See, this S2 and this S2 is, I put a red marking that will be clear to understand. This is S2. This is S2 and is going to S2. And this S1 and this is S1. And S1, this S1 is connected over here. And this S2 and this S2 is connected over here. And this is coming over. Between these two, we will put a relay, overcurrent relay 51. Or we can put 50 relay. We can provide a 51 relay with a 51N. Okay. This, or we can put a 50 relay and 50N relay. So this is a for one phase. Similarly, when you go to other phase, other phase relay, this is suppose a B phase. This is we connect in B phase. Similarly, other phase will be similarly two wire will be coming from here and one wire will coming from here. Suppose this is a relay 50 C relay and 50N C relay. Connect over here. Similarly, for the A phase, suppose this is the A phase. So A phase, this will be coming over here, and this CT A phase, this is A. Suppose this is A phase over here. This is A phase. This will be coming. It will be connected over here, and this another phase will be coming together, connected over here. Here we will connect another relay between these two, 50A relay. Yeah, these two. This way, this relay will be provided. This is for one zone. So this is a partial differential scheme. So in a simple way, if we do the wiring, how it will be? In simple wiring, if we do like this, it is by 2 incomer, this is your incomer 1, INC1, yeah, INC1, and suppose this is our bus coupler, okay, this is a bus coupler. Suppose now there are 3 CT over here, this is 1 CT, this is 1 CT, this is 1 CT. Similarly, bus coupler has a 3, this is 1 CT, this is 1 CT, this is 1 CT. Suppose A phase, B phase and C phase. So what we have done, this is a S1, this is all are S1, this is S1. This is a S1, S1, S1. Now A phase, suppose this is a C phase, A phase. So A phase CT and this A phase CT join together. It go over here. Then this is a B phase CT and this B phase CT join together goes over here. And the C phase CT, suppose this is C phase and this C phase CT join together go over here. And S2 side, this is S2 side. This A phase CT S2 and this A phase CT S2, these will be connected together. Yeah. This A phase CT, this is A phase. This is A phase CT is connected over here, okay, and then it is going. Similarly, this B phase CT and this B phase CT connected over here. C phase CT and C phase CT connected over here. And then similarly here, these are 3. Now this relay is connecting in between. Suppose this is your C phase, right? So 50C connected over here, then 50B connected over here, and 50A connected over here, right? This is the all current relay connected instantaneous. Now earth fault how will provide? Now these 3, now what will do? This is coming from S to N. These 3 will make, after this connection, will make all these 3 shorted. Yeah? This is connected over here. This we make shorted. And here these 3 also we make, after this we make it ground, and these 3 also we make short, and then we connect 50N relay over here. Okay, so this is why we provide the partial differential protection. So this is once the phase relay are connected, then all the phase relay neutral side will be shorted and the phase side also will be shorted, and the shorting will be coming over here. Or even for the overcurrent, I need not to carry the entire line, we can short over here. S2 will be shorted, S1 S2 and then 3 will be shorted, and the shorting neutral can be connected over here, and that will be connected over here. Otherwise we can connect in this way also. Ultimately at the end we will be shorting and then it will be grounded. So this way we provide partial differential scheme, and similarly for the bus section 2 will be identical like this. Now when this partial differential scheme will operating, immediately relay will trip the incomer breaker, bus coupler breaker, as well as it will trip all the outgoing feeders. Okay, that is a normal way this differential protection operate. When differential protection operating, so immediately what will happen? Suppose this relay 50 is operating or 50N is operating. The moment this instantaneous relay operating, due to bus fault with some timer might be providing to just to give some time, then immediately this relay should trip the incomer breaker, bus coupler breaker, as well as all the outgoing feeder, and it will block the auto changeover if there is a present. So there is a DC scheme for that. How will do that? That is a positive side, and suppose this is a negative side. Okay. Now from the positive side we put a fuse or MCB for the protection. Then from here it will come. Now this 50 relay, it may needs a DC supply. So this is a 50. Suppose this is a 50 relay. So the DC supply will be coming from here. There will be negative side fuse will be here. So this is a negative side fuse. Okay. So this 50 relay will getting power supply over here. Similarly, there will be 50N relay. Suppose this is a one phase. If there are 3 phase, 3 will be there. I am not drawing just for one phase. So when these 2 relay will be operating, immediately what will do? It will, when this relay, this is the power supply. So this relay, when this operating, then 50 relay contact or 50N relay contact. Who is operating? 50 or 50N. This may be with a timer. 50N plus timer. Whoever is operating, then it will go to a lockout relay, hand reset lockout relay. Plug 86 lockout relay. Okay. This 86 lockout relay, it is a multi-wheel contact with the hand reset facility. This 86 lockout relay, immediately it will give some indication. Suppose this is the indication, we can take indication 50, 50 plus 2 timer. We can give a indication that overcurrent relay operated, and it will give parallel to 86 also one. So it is operating 52 overcurrent operating along with the 86. Otherwise we can give another contact, we give 50N plus 2 and then 86. In that case, when this will be operating, we will understand this earth fault has operated. Okay, this is a phase fault and this is a earth fault. Okay, and if we want to continue the bus wire, we can put another indication lamp over here at the end for the bus wire indication. Okay, this way this 86 lockout relay is required, and 86 lockout relay hand reset. Till you are not resetting the relay, all the incomer and bus coupler and the outgoing feeder, you cannot close it. And this relay has a multiple contact, heavy duty contact, that will be connected in the tip coil of the breaker. Suppose this 86 lockout relay will be connected to the tip coil of the breaker. If you see the tip coil, this is going over here, this is the DC scheme. Now the tip coil, if you see over here, I am drawing over here, this 86, this is the contact of 86 is going to the incomer tip coil. This is INC1, incomer tip coil will be going over here, and similarly it will go to bus coupler tip coil and all the outgoing feeder tip coil. So all the feeder will be tripped, and it will be again this 86 control also will be NC contact of 86 will be in the incomer closing coil. So this is a CC closing coil, and this is a tip coil. So when this 86 operated, the closed coil you will open. So till it is not reset, you cannot close the circuit breaker. So that interlock will be also provided. NO contact will be connecting to the tip coil, and NC contact of the 86 lockout relay will be connected to the breaker closed coil. So this will be done. In addition to, we monitor the bus wire, we can monitor the lockout relay operated for phase fault or arc fault, that also we can monitor it. So this is the DC scheme for the partial differential protection. So partial differential protection, when we are providing, we have to keep in mind it is the main protection for the switchboard, but we have to give a backup protection with this partial differential by the overcurrent protection which we provide for the low voltage switchboard. So medium voltage below up to 11 kV switchboard, bus bar protection consisting of two parts. One is a partial differential scheme. Partial differential scheme, that is the main protection. And along with this, there will be backup protection, will be overcurrent protection. Overcurrent as a backup or main two, backup protection. This will be the two protection for the bus bar protection. Okay, for this up to 11 kV. Now, when the switchboard is above 11 kV, 15 kV onward, then we have to consider for the differential protection for the bus bar. Now, we have set the differential protection as a three schemes: conventional normal overcurrent, normal current, circulating current differential scheme. This circulating current differential scheme, how it is made, I am drawing again the single line. Suppose this is one switchboard. So there is a CT over here, there is a CT over here, and there is a CT over here, there is a CT over here. Here there are two zones, one zone is same way, this will be one zone, and second zone, this zone will be this city. This is the second zone. So you see, no area out of this is all this area, including all the protection, all the outgoing feeder from here, and this area also there is outgoing feeders. So zone 1 is including which part? Zone 1 is including, this is my zone 1. This is a zone 1. The zone 1 is including all the outgoing feeder, incoming feeder, and the bus coupler. And zone 2 is including zone 2 incomer, and the second incomer, bus coupler, as all the outgoing feeder of the zone 2. Okay. Zone 2 will be up to this point. This will be up to zone 2, up to the city of the bus coupler, not this feeder. Okay. This will be zone 2. So zone 2 is including bus coupler, outgoing feeder, and the incomer 2. Zone 1 is including incomer 1, bus coupler, and all the outgoing feeder from the zone 1. So here, when we provide the bus differential protection or circulating current principle, we have to actually, how many protection will be there? There will be two zone protection. This is a zone 1. Each zone has a separate protection. Common protection we cannot. Each zone, for each zone there is a separate differential protection. For zone 1 there will be 87 zone 1 protection. Similarly for zone 2, 87 zone 2 protection. That will be the protection scheme for the differential protection. Now, we already discussed during the differential protection scheme that circulating current principle is based on the Kirchhoff current law. That is a summation of the input and output current will be always equal. For a balanced system, whatever the incoming current is coming, and the incoming current and outgoing current is always zero, because total sum of the current in a network, incoming current is, this is for the zone 1, suppose this is the incoming current, and outgoing current is this way. So at any instant when the system is balanced, the incoming current will be decided. Suppose this is off. At this moment we consider this is off for understanding. In that time, in that case, whatever the total current required by the outgoing feeder, that current will be supplied by incoming current. That means if we sum the incoming current is IN, I1, suppose this is I, that equal to the sum of all the outgoing current out. So this outgoing feeder, if O1, O2, or you can say sum of I, O equals to 1 to N, whatever the number of outgoing feeder, okay? And this is I input, I equals to 1 to M. So here only 1, here I equal to 1, so that's a single current. Now when we are making it on, at that moment the I will be, I value equal to 1 and 2. So that will be I1 plus I2. That is the incoming, okay? And this outgoing I equal to 0 to N, number of outgoing, it will be decided I01, 02, 03 like that. So at any instant, incoming current and outgoing current will be 0. So if we sum these two in the vector sum by direction, because this is coming towards the busway and this is coming, so if we consider positive, this will be negative. At any instant, vector sum of all current I plus I out, that equal to 0. Because I is, if we consider this is positive, then this will be negative. Okay. So at any instant, sum of I in equal to sum of I out at balance condition. But the moment there is a fault over here, in that case all the outgoing feeder, what I discussed already, all the outgoing feeder, first of all the normal feeder will not draw any current from the, because if there is a bus fault, bus will go under voltage due to high current flowing from the bus to the other phase or ground. At that time, normal feeder will be 0 under voltage, and the motor feeder or the source feeder which can produce current, that will be feeding power to this bus. So that will be positive. So this negative value will be become 0. So all current will be considered as the input current and output current is 0. So I input minus on I output equal to actually I fault current. Then the balance equation is not matching, immediately relay will operate. This is the circulating current principles. In the normal from the figure, when the healthy condition in the system, all the input current equal to output current. But the moment there is a fault over here, then all the current will be as input current, output current is 0, and that input current will be equal to the fault current. So immediately, as the output current is not 0, the system is imbalanced. Immediately the imbalance will be monitored. If the imbalance is monitored in terms of current, by measuring the circulating current, then we call it circulating current principle. But the imbalance we can also monitor by voltage. If we monitor the current with this imbalance condition by voltage, then we call it a voltage responsible or responsive differential protection. Now we are discussing about the current responsive differential principle, that means circulating current principle, which is based on this Kirchhoff law. At any time in the balanced healthy condition, total sum of the current in a particular section will be always 0. So here particular section is a bus bar. In the bus bar, total current at any instant will be 0, means incoming and outgoing current are same. Why it is called 0? Incoming current considered as a positive current, outgoing current is reverse direction considered negative current. So positive current and negative current will be 0. That is the basic principle. The moment there is a fault on the system, immediately that balanced condition will not be maintained. Immediately there is a fault current will be flowing. So this is the basic principle of the current differential. Now how we will monitor this incoming and outgoing current? We monitor the outgoing same way. We have to sum all the current, incoming and outgoing current we have to sum, and the summation current will be given to the differential relay. We have already discussed the basic differential protection, how we do. Suppose this is the equipment to be protected by differential protection. So this is the equipment. Okay. Now it is the, suppose in our case it is a bus bar. The bus bar to be protected. So this is the incoming side, this is the outgoing side. Okay. So on the incoming side I am putting a CT, outgoing side we are putting a CT. So what do we do? You see here, incoming, this is when current is going this way, this will be our S1. We said it is S1 and this is it is S2. When the current is going this way, this is our S1 and this is our S2. So to cancel the current, what is the rule? Rule is this S2 will be connected to S1 because this is opposite. This current, this S1 is a current is going this way. So it is a negative current. So here negative will be connected to S2 and this S1 will be connected to this S2. Okay, then it will be negative. So this, but if we sum S1 and S1 connected, then it will be sum. but when S1 is connected to S2, it will be subtracted. You have seen that before we add the current, how we add? When we connect both terminal S1, then it is sum. But if in one of the city S1, you see these are the two city supports. So this is the S1 and this is S2. This is the S1, this is S2. Now if we connect this S1, if S2 is connected to S1 and this S2 is cross connection, then this current will go through, S1 is flowing through this, then it is coming to S2, and then here current S1 is going from here and then it is going over returning. So you see this S1 is going from here, is going to the relay, from the relay it is coming back. So this current will be reverse direction. So it will be minus. When S1 is connected to S2, the current will be difference. It will be subtracted. So here that's why as this is a differential, so this S2 will be connected to this S1 will be connected to S2, and the 87, this is the differential relay or ID or differential relay will be connected over here. So when the normal healthy condition, when there is a both currents are equal, this S1 current coming from here, suppose it is I1, it is coming from here, is going through the relay, and second relay current is coming from here, because this direction of the current is this. It is normal condition. This is also flowing I1, it is coming through I1. So you see in this relay, I1 both are 0, so no net current is flowing through this. But the moment there is a fault over here, then what will happen? This city will not feed any current, because this city will not see any current. Only this city will see the current. So this I1 equal to 0. That means there is no current over here. Only this current will go through the relay will operate. So this is the basic principle of circulating current. So in that case, if we want to monitor this current, what we have to do? We have to monitor the current on the incoming as well as outgoing. Now here we have shown only one outgoing, but we have a multiple outgoing, not only one, there is a multiple outgoing is there. So in the case of incomer, there will be maybe one incomer or two incomer. Either bus coupler with the incomer. In our present case, we have a maximum two incomer, like this. This bus coupler and this two incomer and all are outgoing. So here might be maximum two city, but here it could be multiple city. So what is the rule? Rule is incoming city, incoming current to be sum. That means if it is S1, it is S2, S1, S2 will be sum, S2, S2 will be sum. Then these two wire will be coming. Here similarly, all the S1, S2 will be sum. Suppose this is S1, this is S2. So all the S1 will be sum. It is for a particular phase. Here also all S2 will be sum. So this sum will become, this sum will become, this sum will become, this sum will become. Then it will be equivalent to this two wire, this total 4 wire, it also 4 wire, then it will be connected in parallel. So if we do a multiple incoming outgoing current differential scheme, how does it look? I am just drawing one CT wiring diagram, 3-phase wiring diagram. For a, suppose we are considering not too much feeder. So we have a, suppose this is the incomer, yeah, this is the incomer, and then okay, first we draw the single line diagram, then it will be more clear. So this is a incomer, and this going to bus coupler, and this is another incomer. So we have a CT over here, we have a CT over here, and then we have a outgoing feeder. This is a CT. Suppose I am putting one or two outgoing feeder. Okay. So now this is S1. This is a current is coming this way for this bus. This is S1. So and this is S2. So what we have to do? We have to, for this part, this is the one phase only I am drawing. It is single line. Or suppose this is a B phase. Okay, these all are B phase. So this S2 will be connected to this S2, and this S1 will be connected to this S1. Okay. So this is coming S1 and this is coming final S2 for the incoming. This is the incoming. Okay. Now the outgoing, here also this is a current is going this way. So this is S1, this is S1, this is S2, this is S2. So this S1 will be shorted, this S2 will be shorted. Then this S2 will come, this S1 will come. So this is an outgoing sum. So if there is a more feeder, this will be connected in the same way it will be connected. So this will be, the lead will be coming from here. So this S1 and S2. So this is our S1 and this is S2 for the outgoing. What we have shown, incoming S1, this incoming S1 and this incoming outgoing S2 will be connected, right? And this S1 and this S2 will be connected, and then between these two we have to connect the relay 87 relay. 87 relay will be connected between these two. Then it will be like what we draw before. So this is a CT, this is a CT. So this is a S1, this is S2, this is outgoing S1, this is S2. So this S2 connected to S1, this S1 connected to S2, relay is connected between these two. We have done the same thing. This is incoming S1. All S1 are starting over here, and this S1, and this is a S2. So this S2 is this S2. This S2 is connected to this S1. Relay is connected between these two. So we have done the same way. Okay. This is S2. This S2 and S1 connected over here, and this S1 and this S2 is connected over here. Relay is connected between these 2.87. So bus differential. So if it is a one phase, suppose this is B phase. Similarly for the A phase, this is A phase, B phase 87. Similarly, A phase will be done in the same way. C phase will be done in the same way. So this way the protection will be connected. But problem with this scheme is that if one of the CT gets saturated, suppose for the internal fault it will this way it will work. But for the external fault, suppose there is a fault on the outside of the protection zone. Suppose there is a fault over here. In that case, what will happen? All the fault current will be feeding by this two and this. All other CT will not, all other feeder will not feed any fault. So all the fault current will be coming from the incomer and it will go through this CT. So this CT will be looking the entire fault current IF. But in other case, if there is a bus fault over here, the fault current is seen by this two CT. Either this or this, not entire current is not seen by this CT. But when there is a fault over here, the same fault current is flowing, but the fault current will be entire fault current by the seen by this CT, and this CT will get saturated. When CT gets saturated, it will not provide any output current. Then it will be not, that means it will not transfer the input current to the output current. Then this 87B will be unbalanced. In that case, what will happen? Incoming fault is outside, but incoming current is there, but the outgoing current is not replicated, because you know that CT will reproduce the current. CT will reproduce the current when this magnetization in the linear zone. If we see the CT magnetization characteristics, CT magnetization current like this. Okay, then it goes to, so in this area, as this is your voltage and this is your current. As you increasing the current, this magnetization will be increasing. This is a level of magnetization. Then after that, it becomes saturated. Then further no more. If you suppose this is a voltage, this is a magnetization, the current. After that, it will further you increase the voltage or magnetization, the current will not increase, current will be saturated. After this point, suppose this current is a 10 ampere. After 10 ampere, if you go 100 ampere, 90 ampere current will not be reflected. But suppose normal condition, it is carrying 10 ampere current, it is reproducing. The moment 100 ampere current is flowing through this CT are 50 ampere and 50 ampere flowing. This 100 ampere going through this, all the other CT's current is 0. This 100 ampere is not replicating, only 10 ampere is replicating, where the I input current equal to 100 ampere and I output current is though 100 ampere, but the CT, due to saturation of the CT, it is producing only 10 ampere. So the difference of current will flow through the relay and relay will operate. So this is one of the problem of this conventional current differential scheme. So if it is not very important, and we can number of feeder is very less, chance of saturation is very less. If we can select the CT in that way, the proper burden of the CT to be selected, knee point voltage of the CT will be high than this required voltage. If the LD's knee point voltage will be 2 times of this normal magnetization curve, normal operation zone, and if the number of feeder is less, we can use with some compromise this current differential scheme. But in that case, this current differential scheme must be backed up by partial differential scheme. That is which we have shown already discussed. So in the non-important medium voltage switchboard, which is not very important for operation or which is not critical, no generator is connected with that type of switchgear, if we need to provide a bus differential, we can provide current conventional circulating current principle, circulating current differential 87B along with partial differential or overcurrent protection. So these two combination we can use for this. I think we have already completed 45 minutes. Now we are pending with this bias differential protection and the high impedance voltage differential scheme with some CT requirement, all these things that we discussed in the part 3. So this is all about for today. Thank you very much indeed for joining hands with me for this in this discussion, and I am hoping we will be continuing this in the coming days. Thank you very much.